ISWAP claims responsibility for attack on Kuje custodial facility. Tributes continue to pour in as OPEC Secretary General Barkindo is laid to rest in Yola. APC delegates ask court to stop Masari's replacement as Tinubu's running mate. And on the foreign scene, British Prime Minister Boris Johnson set to resign from office. Hello and welcome to Trust TV News Update. I am Ibrahim Yusuf. And welcome once again. The Islamic State of West Africa Province, ISWAP, has claimed responsibility for the attack on Kuje Medium Security Custodial Center, Abuja, in which over 600 inmates, including Boko Haram commanders, were released. The group claimed the attack in a 30-second viral video which showed the gunmen setting ablaze vehicles parked in the facility. The Kuje attack comes after a convoy of cars carrying the advance team of security guards, protocol and media officers ahead of the president's visit to Daura for Salah came under terrorist attack. Meanwhile, authorities of the Kuje Custodial Center say no fewer than 879 inmates escaped when the center came under attack on Tuesday night. Of this number, the center says it has rearrested at least 443, while a personnel of the Nigeria Security and Civil Defense Corps attached to the custodial center was killed and 3 personnel of the service seriously injured. Musa Luka was at the custodial center and reports that ISWAP has taken responsibility for the attack.
Burned vehicles, especially burned buildings, and generally quiet atmosphere welcome visitors to the center. It came under heavy shelling on Tuesday night when terrorists broke into the custodial center using explosive devices through the main entrance and the fence of the facility. Presently, 551 inmates are currently in custody, while 443 inmates are still at large. Government functionaries have been visiting the facility to ascertain the extent of damage with a view of restoring and equipping it to forestall future occurrence. Among the functionaries is the Minister of Defense, Bashir Magashi, who had earlier confirmed the attack.
I think we are trying to see what we can do to ensure that all the escapees are brought back to the prison yard. And I think the prison is accommodating about 994 inmates and SPP about, we have about 600 already inside now.
Following shortly was the Permanent Secretary, Ministry of Interior, Shuaibu Belgore, and the FCT Minister, Musa Bello, accompanied by the Goma of Kuje, Al-Haji Haruna Tanko Jibrin.
At least we have retrieved about 300 out of about 600 that got out of the jail cells. And the retrieval is going on. We received reports that there are still about 50-60 that have been intercepted somewhere just a little outside town here.
The gallant officers that tried their best, and also to sympathize over the death of a very fine, gallant officer from the Nigerian Civil Defense Authority who was gunned down by the criminals.
The residents of Kuje community who are apprehensive that the escaped terrorists may be lurking around the unleashed mayhem of the community narrated their experience and urged the federal government to address the situation.
They see like this, thing don't too much. You don't always too much because some kind of things they always happen for prison. Maybe today, maybe say tomorrow they will talk. Because it don't always happen steady. Like yesterday we things solved yesterday. We did Junction prison. We did on Junction there. We just stand. Before we know, we just hear something like thing just explode quick. Dim. The first time, second one explode. Dim. Before we know, just hear soldier man say no begin run. Soldier man wait there. When supposed to go come prison to come begin the base. Who too come begin the base. And so all of us come begin the run. One day. Before we come day house, we come hear people, they come, they shout, they shoot up and down yesterday. People got uniform begin come out, begin to pursue everybody.
It's bomb that exploded yesterday, last night. And it scared a lot of people around the Sketa. And I feel bad about it. For years now, I've been living in this Kuje. I hear insecurity, I hear about bomb, but I have never experienced such a thing like this.
Meanwhile, the service says it will deploy its Corrections Information Management System in synergy with National Identity Management Commission to track all fleeing inmates and return them to custody. It also confirmed that DCP Abba Kyari and other VIPs held in the facility did not escape, adding that some of the attackers were killed, with others escaping with gunshot wounds.
From the Kuje prison, I am Musa Luka Musa, Trust TV.
Palace of Adamawa Kingdom was on Wednesday filled to capacity. Guests from the state, national and international community attended the Janaiza prayers in honor of late Sanusi Barkindo, the outgoing Secretary General of the Organization of Petroleum Exporting Countries, OPEC. The prayer, which was led by the Chief Imam of Modibo Adama Jumaat Mosque, Kadi Ahmadu Boboi, also had in attendance a federal government delegation, as well as the Lamido of Adamawa Muhammadu Barkindo Aliyu Mustafa. Salis Lawan reports that the remains were laid to rest at the ancient Damari Yola Cemetery. The report.
The former OPEC General Secretary Mohammed Sanusi Barkindo died on Tuesday, the 5th of July 2022. Barkindo died at about 11 p.m. at the age of 63. Until his death, Sanusi Barkindo was also a member of the Adamawa Emirate Council, holding a traditional title of Wali Adamawa. Some of his fellow kingsmen were handy to pay their last respect.
It's very sad, very devastating. We've lost a brother, friend, a leader of the whole nation, especially from the oil and gas sector.
So the death of Wali Adamawa is a great loss to our country, the whole world. Yeah, I feel sad because, but with the total submission to the will of Allah, as a Muslim, we have to believe that all death, all life, sooner or later, is appointed death.
There were various international, national and state government representatives at the funeral prayer. Late Sanusi Barkindo was also the former managing director of the NNPC before he was appointed OPEC Secretary General in 2016. He was the fourth Nigerian to hold that position and the 28th person in the role overall. From Yola, Salis Lawan, Trust TV News.
Meanwhile, tributes continue to pour in following the demise of the Secretary General of the Organization of Petroleum Exporting Countries, OPEC, Mohammed Sanusi Barkindo, who died Tuesday night in Abuja at the age of 63. President Muhammadu Buhari, in a statement by his spokesman Femi Adesina, said Barkindo's undeniable brilliance and legacies as a dedicated public servant will remain a reference point in the oil and gas industry, international development and the environment sector. Senate President Ahmed Lawan described Barkindo's leadership of the global oil cartel as exemplary, noting that the deceased worked assiduously to build cooperation between OPEC and non-OPEC countries to save the energy market at a time of global crisis. Adamawa State Governor Ahmadu Umar Fintiri, in a statement by his media aide, described the 6 years Barkindo spent at OPEC as glorious, praying Almighty Allah grant him paradise, adding that Adamawa has lost its proud son. Meanwhile, the remains of the Assistant Commissioner of Police, Aminu Umar, have been laid to rest according to Islamic rites at Malumfashi local government area of Katsina State. The Assistant Police Commissioner was ambushed and killed by terrorists at a village in Zakka district of Safana local government area. Abdullahi Yamadi has an update of the situation in Katsina.
Allahu Akbar. Allahu Akbar.
About 300 terrorists ambushed the Assistant Commissioner of Police, and his team on their way to some farming communities on rescue operation. The unfortunate killing of the gallant ACP Aminu Umar will pose a serious setback to the already fragile security situation of the frontline local government areas of Katsina State. The Assistant Commissioner of Police was so much committed to sustaining the fight against terrorism and has been seen as one of the outstanding security personnel leading the most successful operations against terror. People in the frontline local governments are saying they are now at the mercy of God, as ACP Aminu Umar has been their savior. Dai village and other insecurity-prone local governments have been thrown into mourning following the unfortunate death of the police officer. Some 2 other police officers and 2 members of the local vigilante group were also killed during the dastardly attack. Government officials, heads of security agencies and other traditional title holders, as well as civil servants, attended the funeral prayer. Abdullahi Ismayamadi, Crossed Television News, Katsina.
And relatives of the Abuja-Kaduna train attack victims on Wednesday staged a peaceful protest in Kaduna, demanding immediate release of the remaining victims from the hands of their abductors. The protest is sequel to a recent threat by the terrorists that they would start slaughtering abductees if negotiations for their release fail. The report.
All we are saying, free our people. All we are saying, free our people.
Despite series of protests by the relatives of the abducted passengers and negotiations, about 50 people are still in captivity. Although a number of the abducted victims were released unharmed, the remaining abducted passengers are in danger following the recent threat by the abductors that they will start slaughtering the abductees should the negotiations fail to yield results. It is for this reason that the relatives and friends of the victims are calling to the government to, as a matter of urgency, secure the release of their relatives.
And I'm here to talk about my auntie. She's the only person I have and no one I have. Please, government should help us and release them in Jesus' name.
That's not been easy because during this rainy season, for you to be sleeping at home, even in your bed, the weather is too cold. Talk more of people that are in the bush. So you will not sleep. You just wake up and start crying and start praying.
The trauma has been something else, honestly. We are still appealing to the government to please do all it can to bring our loved ones to us in no distant time.
The prayed government will come up with a tangible and workable solution before it is too late.
Today is exactly 100 days since our loved ones were abducted in the ill-fated AK-9 train attack. It was a journey of 2 hours that has turned to 100 harrowing days. We have been appealing to the government and security agencies in the last 100 days to rescue our loved ones. But so far, we have not seen much. We are calling on the government to do the needful. In as much as we are given the opportunity, you understand, to hear our views, we feel it is important. We feel it is imperative for the government to come to the aid of these people and they will hear their demands.
Government is talking of everybody going to school. Children no longer attend to school now. Students don't go to school because of fear of being kidnapped or being killed.
According to media reports, Ansaru Group said in an audio recording, they will start killing the kidnapped passengers in 24 hours if the government failed to seek for their release.
And no fewer than 9,998 out of 10,000 police recruits on Wednesday passed out from police colleges across the nation, with 11 recruits failing to meet the standards set for the exercise during the training. At the Personnel Parade, the Inspector General of Police, Baba Al-Ali, represented by the Deputy Inspector General of Police, Muhammad Damala, urged newly recruited constables to contribute to their quota to the fight against security challenges in the country in a disciplined manner. The report.
The new recruit will help the Nigerian police that has been overstretched by insecurity due to inadequate personnel in the country. Jaji Muhammad Damalam, who stood in for the IGP, says the recruitment exercise is a testament to the determination of the Nigerian police in addressing security issues of the country.
The recruitment exercise projects the determination of the federal government to address the social factors that accentuate the commission of crimes, which is unemployment. The import of taking 10,000 able and active youths out of unemployment market annually is that the young men and women have been saved from temptation of crimes and given a platform to rather fight the menace of crime.
While reminding them that the force has zero tolerance for indiscipline, he admonished the recruit to avoid acts capable of tarnishing the image of the force.
I must sound this note of warning loud and clear enough to you all. The bedrock of policing is discipline. The force under my leadership has a zero tolerance for indiscipline and any act that may be antithetical to police professionalism.
The IGP further assured the citizen that a new police is being evolved to protect them against bad elements in the society.
You're watching Trust TV News Update. And still to come on the news, gloomy pictures ahead of Eid al-Kabir. Details of this and more after the break. Do stay with us.
That's good.
Welcome back, and thanks for staying with us on Trust TV News Update. Now another look at our top stories. ISWAP claims responsibility for attack on Kuje custodial facility. And tributes continue to pour in as OPEC Secretary General Barikindo is laid to rest in Yola. And in other news, a federal high court sitting in Abuja has been asked to stop the All Progressives Congress, APC, from replacing Kabiru Masari as the running mate to the party's presidential candidate Bola Tinubu. Shortly after Bola Tinubu emerged as the APC flag bearer, the party submitted Masari's name to the Independent National Electoral Commission (INEC) as the vice presidential candidate for the meantime. However, two chieftains of the party and delegates, Zakari Maigari and Zubainatu Muhammad, approached the court to stop INEC from accepting the request for a change of the vice presidential candidate from the APC. The plaintiffs joined APC, INEC, Tinubu and Masari as defendants in the suit dated 4th July 2022. They asked the court to determine whether it was legally permissible for Masari to withdraw as the vice presidential candidate of the APC so as to be substituted or replaced with another person by the party, with regards to the combined effect of sections 142, subsection 1, and section 29, subsection 1, 31 and 33 of the Electoral Act. And a federal high court in Abuja has granted permission to former Imo State Governor Rochas Okorocha to travel to the United Kingdom for medical attention. Justice Inyang Eden Ekwo Wednesday directed the registrar of the court to release the travel passport of the former governor following an application argued by Okorocha's counsel Ola Olanipeku. The lawyer argued that Okorocha, who is also the senator representing Imo West, will not abuse the order and will return to the country for his trial. Although the counsel to the Economic and Financial Crimes Commission, EFCC, Chile Okoroma, initially objected to the application, he later agreed. The judge ordered Okorocha to return the passport to the court's registrar not later than 3 days after his arrival in the country. Okorocha was in May arraigned on a 17-count charge of 2.9 billion naira fraud. And with less than 72 hours to this year's Eid al-Kabir, prices of vegetables and some essential commodities in Kano have been reduced. But the people's purchasing power still cannot match the reduced prices. Trust TV correspondent Idris Jibril, who went round some markets across the state, reports that government's inability to pay workers' salary may have worsened the situation. The report.
Yankaba is one of the largest vegetable markets within Kano metropolis. The place is always booming, especially during a period like this. Tomato, onions, and other vegetables never cease from here. Few months back, a basket of tomato is sold at between 25 to 35,000 naira, while a bag of onions is at between 30 to 45,000 naira. Now the price has significantly reduced, but the purchasing power of the people is poor at the moment. People do not have money. Now that is Salah period, they are supposed to have money to buy the things they needed. Like me, I bought these tomatoes at almost 12,000 naira. But if you give me 11,000 naira, I will collect because there are no buyers. Back at the popular Kantunkwari textile market, things are somehow dry. Although women have taken over shopping here, but they say clothes are very expensive this year.
Everything is expensive. I came to buy veil and shoe, but I can no longer afford it. It's too expensive. I have to go back with my money because everything is expensive.
According to some Kano residents, state government inability to pay workers' salary is largely responsible for the poor purchasing power of the people. There is no money. Traders among us cannot sell since we don't have money to buy. I think government need to make things easier for people. With the high cost of sacrificial animals and the rising prices of food items and other essential commodities, things appeared bleak for ordinary people this year. And there are even concerns that these things could get worse in the next coming days unless something is done to ease the suffering of the poor masses. Idris Jibril, Trust TV News, Kano.
Now a quick look at the foreign scene, where reports say British Prime Minister Boris Johnson has agreed to stand down as Conservative Party leader after losing the support of his ministers and members of Parliament. The embattled leader has faced a growing rebellion within his party over a series of allegations. And that wraps up Trust TV News Update for this hour. For more news, you can subscribe and follow us across all our social media platforms. I am Ibrahim Yusuf. Thanks for watching.